Michigan's Great Lakes Fisheries and Auto Industry, a history hook. Picture this. 1910, Lake Erie. One sweep of a net pulls up 90,000 whitefish, so many the extras are fed to pigs and plowed into fields as fertilizer. Fast forward less than 40 years and the same lake is almost empty, while Detroit's factories are dumping so much oil into the water that the Cuyahoga River just downstream bursts into flame. In 1 century, Michigan built the planet's biggest industrial empire and nearly killed the greatest freshwater system on Earth. How does that even happen? Intro. Tonight we re-following 2 tracks that ran side by side, the birth of Michigan's auto industry and the slow-motion crash of its Great Lakes fisheries. One gave us the assembly line, the other gave us the phrase, ecological collapse. Stick around, this one's a roller coaster. Section 1, the land of abundance. Long before Michigan turned steel into cars, it turned water into money. Indigenous nations around Lakes Michigan, Huron and Superior, had fished these waters for thousands of years, treating them as sacred. When European settlers arrived in the 1800s, they didn't see sacred water, they saw an endless pantry. By 1850, little steam tugs were hauling purse seines longer than city blocks. Dock towns Alpena, Grand Haven, Port Huron stacked lake trout and whitefish like firewood. Fresh catch rode the rails to New York restaurants before anyone had refrigerators. A single smoked whitefish sold for what we'd pay $40 for today, and nobody had even heard of a closed season. Outfish an inland ocean seemed impossible. Section 2, the rise of Titan's auto industry. While nets were filling, tinkerers in Detroit garages were playing with gasoline. In 1896, Charles Brady King rattled down Woodward Avenue in the city's first gasoline car. The paper called it a contraption that scared every horse in sight. 2 years later, Ransom E. Olds rolled out the Curve-Oldsmobile in Lansing. Then Henry Ford showed up. By 1913, his Highland Park plant had the world's first moving assembly line, 93 minutes to build a chassis. Down from 12 hours, cars went from rich man toys to everyday essentials. Detroit's headcount exploded, 285,000 in 1900 to 1.6 million by 1930. Ford paid $5 a day, unheard of money, and immigrants poured in from Poland, Italy, and the American South. By 1925, Michigan was stamping out 2/3 of every car on the planet. Section 3, the rise of Titan's commercial fishing. The factory boom made people hungry, and Michigan's fishing fleet ballooned. Steam tugs became diesel trawlers. Wooden schooners were swapped for steel freighters, dragging gill nets 40 miles long. 1923, the lakes coughed up 150 million pounds of fish, triple the haul from just 30 years earlier. Refrigerated rail cars kept prices sky high. Still no statewide limit on nets, no size rules, no quotas. Fishermen joked, if the fish ever finish, we'll just reel in tomorrow's daydreams. Section 4, collision course. The 2 booms didn't just coexist, they fueled each other. Factory paychecks paid for Friday night fish fries. Fish bones became fertilizer for the grain that fed the workers. Prosperity came with a catch nobody measured. Factory runoff oil paint. Heavy metals flowed straight into the Rouge River and on into the lakes. Meanwhile, overfishing slashed whitefish spawning runs by 80% between 1890 and 1935. Lake trout, once so common kids used them as baseball bats, practically vanished. A 1940 state report admitted commercial harvests were a shadow of former abundance, but it was quietly shelved. Detroit needed jobs more than fish. Section 5, the point of no return. The crash wasn't one headline, it was a slow-motion pileup. First, the blue pike blinked out, declared extinct by 1962. Without predators, invasive alewife exploded. 1967, Chicago's beaches were paved with alewife so thick bulldozers had to scrape them away like snow. Papers called it the Silver Death. Meanwhile, automotive output peaked. 1973, 12 million cars and trucks rolled off Michigan lines in a single year, still the record. That same year, mercury levels in Lake St. Clair walleye were 7 times the FDA safety limit. When the Cuyahoga River caught fire again in 1969, Time put the flames on the cover. America finally noticed Michigan had a problem. Section 6, the reckoning backlash came fast. Mid-roll soft CTA if you're digging this ride through Michigan's past. Smash that subscribe button. I drop new history deep dives every week. Section 7, the legacy walk. The Detroit River today and condos stand where factories once smoked. Charter boats outnumber freighters on Lake Erie. But the story isn't done. Invasive mussels still clog intake pipes. Climate change is warming the lakes faster than the oceans. The lesson is blunt. Industry and nature can share the same ground only when both are treated like they run out. The fish came back after we admitted they could disappear. The auto industry survived because it learned to reinvent itself. The twin dreams that built Michigan machines and water now balance on a single compromise. Grow, but only as fast as the lakes can handle. Outro. So next time you spot a vintage Ford cruising Woodward, or cast a line into Lake Michigan, remember they're pages from the same book. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories where industry and nature collide, the next video on the rise and fall of the Erie Canal is waiting for you.